Hey guys, welcome to my channel. Now if you're new to Logic or if you're considering Logic, today I'll show you how to get started in Logic Pro X. Step 1 is to create a new project. Click the Logic logo, wait 3 hours for it to load, and you're going to have a few options. You'll have an option to open an existing project from a template or just an empty project. So today we'll select the create a new empty project and we'll get started. When you first open Logic, it gives you the option of creating a new track. There's 5 different options, but to be honest, it really doesn't matter because you'll be creating and deleting tracks all throughout your song, so it really doesn't matter what you pick. I'm just going to pick audio and move on. Before we get started, I'm going to dive into the settings section and show you guys how to enable all the right settings before we go through the rest of the Logic features. Now, what you're going to want to do is go to the Logic Pro section on the top here, click Logic Pro, Preferences, and General. Now, the first thing you'll want to do is go to the Advanced section and make sure that all of the advanced tools are enabled. If you don't enable this, you might as well be using GarageBand. Next, let's go to the Audio tab. So first, make sure that Core Audio is enabled. If you have an audio interface, select it in the Output and Input sections here. But if you don't have one, you can just press the built-in outputs and inputs for your computer. Now, what this means is the output device is where your audio will be coming out of from your session, so into the audio interface and out through the speakers in this case. And the input device is how you're going to be recording sound into the sessions. For the buffer size, I have 128, but you can pick 256 or 512. All this means is the lower the number, the less time you're giving your computer to think about all the different things that it needs to do within Logic, and the higher the number, the more time you're giving your computer. All this is doing is reducing latency, so that if you're recording a vocal or recording a guitar in any instrument, you want to make sure that there's as least amount of latency as possible in your session so that it's not weird or odd from the time that you sing, let's say, to the time that you hear your voice back through the headphones. So if you have a better computer, leave this at 128, but if your session is getting pretty big or if your computer is a little slow, just bring it to 256, 512, see what works for you and go from there. As for the rest of the settings, you can just take a screenshot of this, you can pause the video and copy it over to your settings. They should be universally applicable. Now, if you have a MIDI keyboard connected, go to the MIDI section, click the inputs, and just make sure that it's selected here. And that's it for the settings. So next we'll cover the Logic layout. At the top center, you have your transport controls like stop, play, reverse, record, loop. Things like your master volume and your metronome right here. Now, if you want to loop something, you just press the loop button right here, and then you click and drag where you want Logic to keep looping a certain section if, let's say, you're recording multiple takes of a vocal. In the middle right here, you have a display that shows your beats per minute, where you are in the song, your CPU meter, your key, anything that you really wanted to show. If you want to edit this and make it custom to how you prefer it to be, press this little arrow on the side, press Customize Control Bar and Display, select all the different items that you want to select, press OK, and just make sure that the custom layout is selected right here. And you'll have all the different things that you want to see right here in this little display. I like to keep an eye on my CPU meter right here just in case I'm using intense plugins and it starts to overload. So that's really handy. Now, I'm not going to go into any major details here, but you have all your tracks in the middle of the screen right here. You have your samples and Apple loops and things like that on the side right here. We can get into much more detail on how to organize your samples in another video. If you want me to make that video, let me know in the comments below. And on the left-hand side, you have different instruments that Logic has loaded up and the settings for your track. We'll get into that in a second. Just the last thing I want to point out, if you want to add markers to the top section here, press this little arrow, remove everything out of here except for the marker. And now, if you want to add different sections to your song, so for example, here we'll have the intro, press the Command key and click it anywhere to cut that particular marker. Then we're going to add our verse. Clearly, I can't type today. Pretty much, you just keep adding all your different markers here. And now you have a really nice layout and organizational structure to your song. Next, we'll cover how to add or remove tracks. So all your tracks will be displayed right here. The 2 most common types of tracks that you'll add is an audio track or a software instrument track. Now you have external MIDI tracks, drummer tracks, and other types of options here, which I can cover in another video. If I'm adding a software instrument like Omnisphere, I'll add a new software track. And right here on the left-hand side, I'll select Instrument, Omnisphere, and have my plugin ready to go If I want to add any effects to that particular software instrument, you just add audio effects right here, add a reverb, a delay, anything that you need. Now, if you want to record a vocal, bring in different audio samples, add a new audio track. If you're recording something, make sure in your input, you have your input selected. So for example, I have a mic connected to input 1, and then I'll add any effect on the left-hand side right here. If I'm not recording anything, then I'll select no input and I'll port in any audio loops into the section right here. If you want an easy way to record vocals, Logic has a lot of different presets that you can choose from if you're brand new to making music. On the top left side, you have your library button, and if you click on an audio track, voice, and natural vocal, you'll see Logic automatically adds the natural vocal settings that it has from an EQ perspective, your compressors, as well as your reverbs right here. So just a really easy way if you want to just get started and record a vocal. There's other presets as well besides vocal presets. There's also different instruments that they have, different drums, so really valuable feature on the side right here. If you want to record something, simply select your input on an audio track, press the record button, and press this top button right here. If you want to record a MIDI instrument, same applies. Simply press the record button, turn this one off, and then you'll be able to record any MIDI notes in here. You can also just create a MIDI region and add whatever notes you want. Now, if you want to have multiple takes on a particular track, you can actually record over and over and over, and Logic will create new take lanes where you can then choose your best take and use that for your song. So as an example, we have a take right here. I'll press record again. We'll be recording something, and you'll see now we have 2 different takes. And you can actually choose not just the entire take, you can choose part of this take, part of that take, and really make the best of your audio recording. So that's really useful. The same applies to MIDI regions, where you can have multiple takes on a particular MIDI clip. Now, the next part that I want to get to are buses. So buses are typically taught in later stages of music production learning, but honestly, it's not that complicated, so I'll just show it to you today. So what buses do is they send your audio to another track, and in that other track, you can manipulate that audio in any way you want. So for example, if we click bus 2 right here, you'll see bus 2 is sending audio to this track that's applying a delay and an EQ to that audio channel. And what's nice about this is you can decide how much audio you want to send, and then you can decide what volume you want to mix in back into that track for that particular audio effect. Now, if you want me to cover buses in a separate video, let me know in the comments below and I'll explain it. Now, the next useful tool in Logic is this button right here. So this is the command click tool menu. What this allows you to do is select what you want your cursor to do when you're holding down the command button. So for example, if you select a scissor tool, you'll see when I hold command, the scissor icon pops up, and now I can cut different parts of audio clips and MIDI clips. Now, the second last thing I want to cover are templates. So it's quite annoying if every time you start an empty project, you have to create new tracks for your keyboards and your vocals and your drums and everything like that. So what you can do is press File and Save as a template. And you can see here, I already have 2 templates. So one is an idea starter, the other is a vocal recording template. And what this allows you to do is save this project exactly how it is with the settings, how you have them. And to open up a template, when you press the Logic logo right here to open up Logic, instead of clicking Create Empty Project, you just select Create from a template and you select the template that you want to use. And the last thing I want to cover is just version control and bouncing your project. So if you want to try different ideas for a bridge, and as an example, but you don't want to mess around with the current project that you have, what you can do in Logic is press File, Project Alternatives, and New Alternatives. And what this does is it creates another version of the project that you have. And you can then bounce between different alternatives right here, as you can see project 2 and then project 2 and a new version of it. You can bounce between different alternatives of the project without messing with your original idea if you want to try something else. The last thing is, once you're happy with a song, you'd want to bounce it out and export it as a either WAV or an MP3 file. So what you do is press File, Bounce, Project or Section. Make sure that you select where you want to project to start and end. If you're exporting it for Spotify or any other streaming platform, you can export it just as a WAV file. But if you're exporting it just to share with your friends or just for you to have something saved as an idea, I would just save it as an MP3 file. It saves some space on your computer. You can go ahead and just copy all of the settings I have here. Make sure to leave normalize off. And once you're happy with something, you press OK. My overview of Logic today just scratches the surface on what Logic can do, but I hope it was helpful with getting you started so you can have enough of a toolkit to write and produce songs. If you want to see more content on Logic or just music production in general, let me know what you guys would like to see in the comments below. If you liked the video today, please click that thumbs up button and subscribe. Thanks for watching.